My name is Nigel D. Brock. I'm currently 32 years old and I'm calling from New York.
Are you born and raised in New York?
Yes, sir. I am born and raised in New York.
Awesome. And what do you do for work?
I'm a PT assistant in New Jersey. I also run a small youth strength and conditioning program that focus on fundamentals, which is called NDB athletics. And I'm currently certified as a teacher's assistant for the Department of Education.
Awesome. And what do you make at your PT assistant job?
Not enough, but because I'm per diem at the current moment, so it's roughly I would say I'm making 22 an hour. Roughly, that's about maybe 16. I probably work 25 hours a week, so that's roughly maybe like 400 and something every 2 weeks, I want to say.
Okay. So working 24 hours a week there, and then the youth program. Are you getting paid for that as well?
I just currently started to get paid for it, so it's kind of working out in my favor now. So my sessions are normally an hour, 60 an hour. So if you think about how many times I'm training kids per week, so that's roughly about I want to say like 600.
So you're getting about 600 a week from training. So you're doing about 10 sessions a week, and then you're getting about 400 a week from your PT job.
Yeah, that's every 2 weeks for PT because
Every
we
2
get
weeks.
paid bi-weekly.
Okay. So total net income every single month that you're receiving, where are you falling in that?
Probably, I want to say it could be a little bit high. I want to say maybe 3,000 a month.
About $3,000 a month. Okay. And did you go to college?
I'm currently going back for my undergrad this September. I am enrolled in school at the moment. Well, not at the moment for this semester. I'm not. For the following, I will be.
And what are you going to be studying?
Sports and management, business administration.
And what made you decide to go back to school for that?
Because I developed this program when I was young, like 16. This youth sports program because I've always been coaching, always been with the youth. So I decided to develop a brand, but also learn how to market it and build strategies for new income as well too. So I just wanted to know how to actually manage a business properly.
And are you the only person running this youth program right now, or do you have other people involved in it?
Currently, it is just me running it.
Awesome. And what kinds of kids are you training?
Younger kids from like pre-K to sixth grade. So mainly my focus is the younger ones from like 7 to 12. So I focus on the fundamentals with them. Basic basketball, dribbling, agility, training, plyometrics, just the basics, basic stretching, the flexibility part also too. Just teaching them to understand the importance of that sports is not just physical, it's mental too as well. So I teach them the mental side is just as well too.
And is it majority basketball players?
I would say mostly basketball players. I would say I'm kind of shifting, adding a little bit more diversity to that too as well.
Awesome. And did you play basketball growing up? I'm assuming.
Yes, I did. I played high school, played junior high, played a little bit of college, some tournaments, and now I'm kind of coaching the game.
Nice. That's a fun world to be in the world of sports. So
It definitely is.
that's awesome. And so you played a little bit in college. Did you did get a degree while you're playing basketball in college as well?
I took like all student athletes, you take some time off to figure out what you really want to do because sports is not the end all. So I took some time off to really figure out exactly what I wanted to go to school for and what is going to really keep me driven for this. So I've been out of school in and out of school a little bit for some time, but I'm currently about to finish my undergrad this September. So I pat myself on the back for the journey that I had to go through to get that.
Yeah. Awesome. So you're finishing your undergrad in September is when you will
Yes.
finish. Awesome. That'll be an exciting time in your life then.
Yes, it's been a struggle.
And so, what are your future career goals?
I want to someday open a youth center. That's my biggest goal at this moment. Is to open a youth center, but also have it where it's just I guess my brand and do other collaborations with other youth sports programs. That makes sense.
Yeah, it does.
Just continue longevity in the world of sports, and may God continues to bless me with the gift.
Yeah, I mean that's a world and industry that I mean so many people love sports and want to be involved in sports, and if you can make a career out of being in sports and helping young athletes become better athletes, become better human beings, and that's a very rewarding world to be in as well.
And they also are teaching me too as well because the generations are getting younger.
Yes, they are. What financial goals do you have related to your career and to your youth sports program?
uh, really financial freedom at this point. I don't want to be in debt or owe anybody any type of funds or anything like that. As of right now, I have a student loan and I haven't finished school yet, so I'm currently working on that. Just basically having more of of a routine structured budget and not stepping out of that, because although we like our things that we're not supposed to have, I guess, if that makes sense.
Yep.
One of them happened. Well, my past has been sneakers, so I kind of like grew out of that. I'm a little older now, so it's like it doesn't really phase me as it did when I was younger. So now I understand. Okay, all the sneakers that you bought years before, you probably could have owned, Lord knows what, two houses, a Bentley, and but you live and you learn, I guess.
Yep. I mean, that's what life is. You make a lot of financial decisions and mistakes, and you learn from it, and don't let it happen again. I've made plenty of countless financial mistakes in my life, and you can't dwell on the past. You just have to keep learning, keep moving forward, and try to help the world too at the same time become better at their finances. And hope people don't make the same financial decisions or mistakes that you did, and as if you can help them. So,
Absolutely.
growing up, what was your childhood like growing up in New York?
I had everything. I didn't really want for anything. I've always had everything I ever needed, everything I wanted. It was always at both my parents. I had a good childhood, I would say. I had good friends. We played basketball for day in and day out. I didn't really have any issues with my childhood growing up.
How did your parents approach money growing up?
I don't know. Like, that's a good question. More like very reserved. To say, like, for instance, if I wanted a pair of sneakers, it was like either you want the sneakers or you want the roof over your head. So it's more so we're gonna keep you structured, but understand why we are doing these things, if that makes sense.
Yeah, so they're teaching you along the way, not just saying, "Hey, no, you can't have the sneakers," but hey, it's either sneakers or the roof over your head. Trying to teach you along the way of, hey, you can't just have everything under the sun,
Right.
otherwise that's going to take from other things of life.
Absolutely.
Did your parents talk to you about money much growing up outside of that?
Not really. I kind of like learned that through various of experiences, and especially dealing with money, businesses wise and stuff like that. So I didn't really learn that side from them. I just learned that through the everyday world, the people like yourself, and just networking basically.
And in what ways did your upbringing kind of shape your current financial habits?
In which way? Just basically knowing that you're basically on your own when it comes to some financial situations. Like, you are responsible when you put yourself in certain situations. Basically, I think that just being independent, that's what made me understand a little bit more, teaching me to be independent, if that makes sense.
Yeah, teaching yourself to be independent, and I think you hit the nail on the head. There is you're responsible when you put yourself in certain situations, whether you sign up for something or sign your name on a document. You're responsible for that because you made that decision. So,
Absolutely.
what are some of the most important financial lessons you've learned over the last few years?
Do not pay things late.
There's a backstory on that. Let's hear the backstory.
Well, as a youngin, when I was growing up, I really didn't understand the importance of credit and how it can really damage your future and you not paying things on time. So it was a few things that went into collections, as far as a phone bill, gym memberships. But this is when I was young. I didn't really know too much of the financial situation, so I kind of did a little bit more studying. You want to say? Did my research, and then I started sparring up. But then also too, I realized the income wasn't matching what my finances was. So that's where I'm at right now. It's like, okay, you got to figure out where the finance is going to match up with the income, so that way you don't have an issue where you're paying things late.
Yes, it is. How would you define your current financial situation on a scale of 1 to 10?
Uh, I'm gonna give it a 6 because it's strengthening. I'm in a building process, so I would give it like a 65 because it could be better.
Let's dive in. I guess in your current financial situation, what current debts do you have? You said you have student loans.
I have a student loan. I don't think I really have that much. Maybe like I have one credit card and one gym membership that's on my credit report. But other than that, it's pretty clean, if you want to say.
How much in student loans do you have?
Just one. I think it's in. I want to say 35,000.
35,000. Okay. And credit cards?
One is for 500. Yeah, the credit card's 500.
Okay. And gym membership.
The gym membership is 168.
You're training kids how to be athletes and train them in school, but then you're not paying your gym membership.
Yeah, but that was before. This is now.
And you haven't decided to pay off the $168?
Oh yeah, no, they already have the $168. Is what I'm saying. I already took care of that. That I'm not worried. Those were the only two, three things I was worried about. It's more so, and my student loan is in good standing, so it's not in delinquent or anything. It's still in good standing.
Well, I guess student loan repayment starts in what, 60?
Whenever they decide. Whenever they
Right now
decide.
it's 60 days from now. It's August 30th, I think it starts.
Ah,
So the clock I think ends on June 30th, so in 5 days, and so payments are going to restart 60 days from June 30th, which is August 30th. So something to be mindful of. Obviously, I think right now it's going to Supreme Court whether $10,000 is going to be forgiven or not. But that being said, I think all the repayments are starting August 30th. So make sure you have that date on the calendar, and make sure you start budgeting according to it because it's gonna get here before you know it.
absolutely.
That's going to be, frankly, going to be an interesting time in America with a lot of people feeling the pressure of inflation or not budgeting properly and having the past 3 years of not having to do student loan payments. That might be $300, might be $500 a month. They haven't had to even think about that the last 3 years, and it's coming up quick. And a lot of people have been using that money to go do X, Y, and Z, or spending that on other things and new cars, new this, new that, and I'm hoping it's not going to be ugly, but I have a feeling it's going to pinch a lot of people in August.
We're going down. The U.S. currency is going down. It's unfortunate, but we're living in crazy times right now.
Yes, yes, we are. Every day there's a new headline, and whether that's happening, it's the world gets crazier. So,
Right. Just keep your sanity.
well, let's dive into, I guess, your current assets. What assets do you have right now? Bank account, retirement account.
I don't really have anything at the present moment. I'm working on a few things, but I don't have any assets. I would say the only thing I have is my business. You want to put that as an asset, but
Okay, and walk us through your current budgeting process.
so basically the current the one that I sent you guys. So basically how I do it, I break it down based on the income because sometimes the income is not exactly the same every month due to the fact that you might lose an hour or two, or you may not go to work. So I base it upon that. My breakdown is basically upon my needs, not my wants. I broke it down based on upon my phone bill, my rent. I don't really have much bills to pay because it's really just me and myself. So as you can see, it was very like small budget. It's not really too much going on. So it's my food, which is $200.80 a month because it's like government or whatever the case may be. I have two phones, which are one is my business and then one is my regular line. So that's $120 a month. And then so anything that comes like regularly that comes out the account would have been my rent, which is 1,000.
So not spending too much money. It seems about 2,000, a little over $2,000 a month, including the $450 in debt payments that you have coming out a month. But you're driving a lot. It looks like $500 a month in gas.
Yeah, I was mostly public transportation. We live in New York.
Public transportation. That's you're in New York. Yeah.
So I factor that in then monthly, especially for my traveling expenses on how many times I travel throughout the month.
Great. So right now it appears $2,100 in monthly expenses, bringing in about $3,000 a month. So you do have some buffer. You're saving money every single month.
Yeah, a little bit. Well, recently now because I'm getting a little bit more of an income. So
Awesome. Well, that's good. Good spot to be in. It's a lot better spot than most people are in. So you're going the right direction.
I'm
What
trying. I'm trying. It's a tough. I guess it's tough, but I'm trying.
do you budget? Like, do you use a budgeting tool or platform or an app, or do you sit down and kind of look at your finances every single month?
I actually don't. I have it written out. I have a roommate, or I had a roommate that actually did that for me. Like we sat down, we did an actual budget on what I spend and what my income is, or whatever the case may be. But I never had an actual Excel sheet for that. But it's crazy when you sent that to me. I said I think I need to start using that. That'll probably help me a lot more.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's. I mean, you're a trainer. You help train kids. Kids don't become 6 years old to being an NBA champion without practice, without kind of understanding their training and what they need to get there. Whether it's conditioning, whether it's shooting, whatever it might be, and unless they're practicing that, then it's going to be very difficult to become an NBA champion. Yeah, same finances without having a budget, without tracking your spending, you don't know where your money's going. You won't be able to put it to work. You won't be able to invest it. You won't be able to save it. You won't be able to pay off your debts unless you really track it and understand what are the steps to get there.
Absolutely.
There's a cool platform, mint.com, that I use for budgeting. I have an Excel sheet too that I use for kind of setting my baseline budget, like what I sent you.
All
But
right.
I use mint.com to actually connect my bank accounts and credit cards, and you can see, okay, I've spent $500 on food this month, or I've spent $200 on shopping, whatever it might be, and it categorizes transactions based off of the category that they get from the credit card platform or the bank account. And that just helps me look back every single week. Okay, I spent too much money on shopping, or I spent too much money on this, or hey, I know I'm having vacation coming up. I need to make sure I'm not spending money on travel or doing this because I want to go on vacation in September. I need to start saving X amount of money every single month for it. So it's just a good platform to manage it, and it doesn't take me much time. I look at it every single Sunday and realize, okay, I maybe went over budget last month. What can I do this month differently? Maybe I ate out too much last month, and this month, instead of going to a steakhouse and getting a steak, maybe I go to a pizza restaurant on Friday and spend $20 on a meal versus $80 or whatever that might look like. So just having it kind of planned out and budgeted in a platform that does it for me, I find it super helpful. So
Definitely. And I'm not gonna lie, just recently, not just recently, but in the past few months, I just started doing that more because I'm like, I need to see where the fund. I do it for my business as far as like the training side. I said now you need to do it for the actual finance side, so you have both on both ends.
100%. I have a question for you on the business side then too. Is there a reason that you have your business income and your business expenses coming out of the same stuff as your personal? Like your phone bill, for example, you said you have a phone bill for your business and your personal, and I just think sometimes you get messy mixing those kind of together.
Well, just because it just makes so my mind is not because I have a billion and one things going on, so I make it where, all right, if you know both phone bills is $120, just take it out $120, whatever the case may be. I don't think about it because then it's like, all right, well, whatever's remaining of that, you know exactly what you need to do. You need to buy equipment or whatever the case may be. But I already have that like registered in my head. As soon as anything comes to me, I'm like, okay, boom, take care of that. Boom, put that to the side. And it's only been like that for the last like I said, I just really started rejuvenated income recently, like 2 months. So it's like now I'm starting to understand how to manage it and put it where it needs to be.
Yeah. And especially starting out, it's okay to kind of be some intermingled, but you kind of want down the line, okay, maybe it's open a separate bank account where all the expenses come out of it. If you need to go buy equipment or you need to go buy X, Y, and Z or rent out a place to train a kid, then you are swiping that debit card or credit card for that business.
I actually have that. That's funny you say that. I do have an account for that. As far as like, I just created. Like I said, these are all things that I start to think about. I said, bro, you're running a business. You need to make sure that you have a separate account for this. So whatever goes in there, it stays in there. So if you need equipment, you go to that account. You don't go to your regular account.
Awesome. Good you're doing it then. That's what matters. And you're starting off, and as you grow it, then it just makes it a lot easier when you look back and start doing your monthly books for your business and say, okay, what did I make this month? What did I spend? Same way with your personal budget. It's good to have those both going. So what are some of your kind of biggest financial mistakes you've made in the past?
Uh Living in New York City. I That was one of the biggest mistakes I can honestly say that I made financially because it was I got all the good experience as far as teaching and coaching and everything and meeting people, whatever the case may be, but the finances versus the living, it didn't add up. So it was like you had to work twice as hard to be able to live in New York City. It's even some of the areas that weren't too pricey, but still it was still hard to manage. I lived in Washington Heights. It's still a decent place, but for $1,000, and then I was living in a basically a closet.
New York City, I think in Manhattan, what the rent is $4,000 for one bedroom. If you want to live in Manhattan these days,
It's been up since the COVID. I mean, since the COVID. So I'm pretty sure it's skyrocketed since then.
which is just absurd. I mean, New York, you're right. It's not a cheap place to live. Obviously, there's a lot of high paying jobs if you work in finance or work in Madison Avenue stuff like that. But at the same time, you got to make. I think I saw something the other day. It was I think in New York, $100,000 feels like $30,000 in like Houston or other cities like that, which is just it's a lot. So not a cheap place to live. What are the financial mistakes you've made in the past?
Uh, so one I would say phone service wise, like when I first. These are all things that I had done in the previous, so it's not really affecting me now, but it's just learning experiences. So I had a phone bill, and it was a line or whatever the case may be. At the time, I didn't. You go in, you ask for an extension on the phone bills, 2 weeks, then 2 weeks come, and you say, oh, I'm gonna give them the money in 2 weeks, and it doesn't happen. Then it just keeps going and going and going. So this phone bill was about like 2,500, and we all had good service. It was Verizon. So that was one of the biggest mistakes I think I made as far as my financial situation was just letting that go because that was a hell of a bill to pay.
$2,500 for a phone bill is yeah, definitely seems steep. Was that for like a new iPhone or was that just
Yeah, that was for the new. At that time, it was a new iPhone, and they were just trying to get. I guess they were doing the promotion. You don't put nothing down, you get the iPhone, and I was getting all accessories and the whole nine, and I was just like, okay, but you don't have the money to pay this.
It can be dangerous, dangerous game when you see all these, oh, no interest, no payments now, have it for the next whatever, and you're like, okay, well, I'll go do this for the iPhone, I'll go do this for a new car, I'll go do this for that, and then you're like, okay, where'd all my money go? And it's like you signed up for 10 different things that are interest free for the things you can't afford.
Now you don't have the funds to pay him back. So now it's like, okay, what are you doing? But I think that was that and me living in New York City because it was like me living outside my means.
Do you have a roommate right now, or you had a roommate and now you don't anymore?
I had a roommate and at that time he was just struggling just as well as I was.
I'm proud of your roommate for sitting you down and doing a budget with you, though. That sounds like honestly a great friend and roommate.
Yeah, he was pretty cool. We had good conversations.
In life, have you experienced any financial hardships?
Just getting a loan so I could get that financial freedom. I guess it's just from the previous experiences I've had with my financial situation, which is making it harder. But I'm pushing forward, just cleaning up the plate.
Well, I'm curious. I want to kind of dive into what you just said. You said you won't. I guess you had trouble getting a loan to reach financial freedom. What do you mean by that?
Basically, like I'm trying to, I want to put the loan where I want to put it towards my business so I can basically branch out and do more things. Because without that, me putting all my money into it is going to take a lifetime. Who knows? Maybe not even a lifetime, but take some time.
So you're trying to get a business loan to grow your business.
Right.
And I guess correct me if I'm wrong. In terms of your business, being a trainer, it's fairly low overhead. It's people paying you for your time. You have obviously some stuff with equipment or things you need to buy, but where would you use that capital?
The capital with a space rental.
Space rental?
Yeah. Because I do have all my sessions are really private, which people have their own location, so I come to them, or there are locations I can go to. But I want a specific location where I could put my equipment in, my logo, and I could walk in and say, okay, this is the time that I'll be here. I'll train you at this time.
Yeah, and I think I guess I'm curious because when it comes to like taking out debt for a business, especially most of those like personal guarantees, it's obviously high risk with that too because you're going to have to sign like a personal guarantee with it, whether it's a credit card or it's a bank loan.
Right.
Do that, and you're starting a small business. Is there ways that you can maybe team up with a gym or you become essentially a trainer at a gym that they give you space and allow you to put your equipment there? I was just saying, like, is there ways to do that in terms of like a lower overhead versus, okay, let's go get a $5,000 loan to go do X, Y, and Z when you don't have, if you don't have those things booked in place versus, okay, what's a kind of a way you can snowball this slower versus kind of, hey, let's jump at it full steam with $10,000 loan or however much of a loan you're looking at?
Well, in some cases they are, but as you know, I live in New York City is very competitive. Who's the best? And my brain is not really necessarily focused on trying to be in competitive with competing with anybody. So I kind of just stay in my lane and I do what works for me. So I guess write out my plan or whatever the case may be, and that was one of them. If it does happen, so if somebody comes in and say, "Hey, Nige, you want to do a collaboration? I have a space, X, Y, and Z." Then I'm all for it.
I'm anti, let's take out debt to do it because it can go south more times than not.
You're right.
So I'm just like, how can you slow grow this? I mean, I've made a lot of mistakes in my own business throughout my time, and I think just trying to figure out a way to slowly do it. I think in the long term that will benefit you more and make sure you're spending every single dollar to the most meaningful degree versus, hey, here's a sum of money, let's just spend it and not necessarily track it properly, or you'd spend more than you typically would if you're kind of bootstrapping it slowly.
Gotcha.
Just something to think about. I mean, that's one thing. Just one of my lessons. I've definitely done that at times in my life. Is haven't done the best in terms of finances with my business or with my personal expenses as well. And like, I think if I had just gone slower instead of like, hey, I want to make as much money as possible, then I think I would have learned the lessons I learned, but I think I would have made better financial decisions at the time as well.
And that's what I appreciate you giving that advice because I like to learn from individuals that have the experience and that'll save me the headache going forward because it's a lot of things that I'm like, okay, well, but you need to talk to somebody before you actually do it, and maybe they give you a better reception on what's the best choice for you and what's going to work and what's not. So I appreciate that.
When it comes to kind of finance, what's the best financial advice you've ever received?
Invest in yourself. I think that was one of the best financial advices I got from someone, was to really invest in yourself. And I've been told that on multiple occasions. So, and it's not like, I know it sounds cliche, but when I really sat and thought about it, I said, nah, that makes perfect sense. In order for you to have your business the best, you got to invest in yourself, be able to, so you can put that out there.
Yeah. No, 100%. I mean, you need to have the skills to grow your business, to run a business, and that's going to pay off tenfold than, hey, I'm going to go invest in some Ponzi scheme and try to turn $1,000 into $1,000,000. Right? You pay $1,000 to acquire skills to grow your business. That's going to reap you a ton of rewards and just snowball over the course of time. So
Right. I believe I'm making a lot of smarter decisions as far as when it comes to this business side. It's tough because business is every single day. You got to add something to it. It's a whole new repertoire you got to add to it. So I'm like, bro, if you're gonna do this, you got to make sure you do it correctly.
yep, it can never change. It'll be a roller coaster of a ride. You'll have ups, downs, and all arounds, and every single day in a business is a learning experience. So the only thing you do is learn from your mistakes, and how can you apply these mistakes and lessons and change what you do moving forward.
Absolutely. And I think that's the biggest thing. I think that's in chapter 32 of my life. That's what I'm realizing is just taking experiences, and you learn from what mistakes you made, and you apply to the next situation. So
I fully agree with you. That's something I'm trying to take with me in my life is learn from our mistakes and keep on pushing forward. So
we wake up every day. I tell people, I tell my athletes and my students, I said, listen, you wake up with two legs, you take two hands, two ears, you can get up and get moving the same way. It doesn't matter. At the end of the day, it's not keeping you down. So you can get up and walk and take care of what you need to take care of.
love that. Love it. When it comes to your student loans, what's the interest rate on those student loans?
I didn't check the interest rate, but it's very low, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, because I didn't get much interest rate on from what I've seen recently, and it's been brought, if I'm not mistaken, my loan department been brought out by somebody else, so I don't even know. From what I've seen, it was a zero balance, so I don't know. I'm gonna go back and check again. Yeah, it was a zero balance on it, so I'm not sure exactly what that means.
Yeah. You need to make sure so you're not getting a collections call, and obviously with payments starting back up in August, and I've seen people with student loans that are 2, 3, 4%. I've seen people with student loans that are 9, 10%. And really just depends. And I'm more pro paying off debt, especially if you're north of 5%, I'm definitely pro paying off debt. If you're 3, 4% in terms of those loans, and okay, maybe you can, as long as you're spending that money or like the difference and investing that into index funds or investing in growing a business, then it's okay. But I'm personally more pro like, hey, let's get out of the debt so you have more cash flow every single month. Because like right now on your budget, you have $450 a month going towards debt, paying off debt right now. And if you had that off your monthly budget, then you have $450 more dollars to be spending on buying equipment for your business that you could do technically, or hey, you want to go save money for a vacation, or hey, you want to go eat out more, whatever it might be, or hey, I want to start investing for retirement in the future as well. I'm more no matter the interest rate, I'm more pro, hey, let's get rid of the debt, let's get out of it and just open up more cash flow for me so I can decide, okay, do I want to start saving money for buying a house, saving money for retirement, or do I want to start a business and invest into that? So
That's my main focus at this present moment, is to get out of debt so I could be able to free up some of the other stuff I would like to do. I mean, it's not really necessarily holding me down. I mean, it is, but I also create other ways of income, if that makes sense, to be able to replace whatever's being taken. But like you said, I created the budget just to see where that money is actually going now, because you can get the money and then don't know where it's going. So it's like, all right, what are you working for?
and you're in a spot, I mean, right now with including your budget or including your debts, you're still have about $800, $900 left over every single month. A lot of people they're living paycheck to paycheck where they have $0 left over after they have their debt payments. So you at least have some wiggle room in that where you can pay off more money towards those debts, or you can with a variable income with starting a new business. Okay, I should set aside some money in case the months go up and down in terms of your income with that. So but you're in a good spot to at least have options. And that at the end of the day, that's what you want is options to pay out the debt faster, or options to make sure you have kind of an emergency fund if your income fluctuates starting your own business. So
Yeah, and that's really like I said, those are the main keys at this present moment, is be able to create better income, and then like I said, if something happens with my career, I'm able to have that flexibility to be like, okay, I can fall back on this a little bit because X, Y, and Z. So it's a lot to deal with when you're running a business. So I tell myself every day, just keep pushing. That's it. Just keep pushing.
keep pushing, learning, and finding, like you said, find people that have been excellent trainers or run their own business in your area that you can have mentors or call for advice and find those people to learn from so that you can excel in your career. I mean, I found a lot of mentors in my life as well that have helped me. I can call them if I have a question or if I need input or need advice on a certain situation. And those people have helped save me a lot of time and energy and just provided tools, resources, connections that have helped me tremendously in my life as well. So what advice would you give to someone who's in a similar spot to you? They have student loans, but they're also starting a business of their own.
Don't be afraid. Take leaps, and also, like you said, to go out there and ask questions. I'm learning now. In order for you to get where you need to be, you have to ask questions. Don't be afraid to ask. No question is dumb unless you don't ask it.
I fully agree with that. Don't be afraid to take a leap. Don't be afraid to take calculated leaps and risks. Don't go get a $30,000 loan to start a drop shipping store or whatever it might be, but take calculated risks. Don't put yourself in financial trouble.
Right. That is my advice to the world. Don't be afraid. That's what life is about. You got to take smart risk and ask questions.
And make mistakes, make them fast, and then keep on moving and pushing forward and learn from them. So,
Absolutely.
well, Nigel, well, really appreciate your time here today.
Appreciate you for having me.
Appreciate you just kind of diving in and excited to see where your business continues to grow. And congrats on the growth of it so far, kind of just continuing to grow it and start building a couple $1,000s a month in income from that. And I know as you continue to grow it and learn, you're going to just continue to grow that and be successful. And definitely do recommend, hey, sit down, build a budget for the personal side as well as for the business. Keep those accounts separate. And I think you'll have a lot of success with that. And you can definitely be able to unlock different areas that you see, okay, I was spending too much money here, or I didn't realize I was doing this, and just help you financial freedom that you want even quicker. So
Absolutely, and it's crazy. You pinpointed a lot of things in the last couple of days. I sat and thought about it. I said he said exactly all the things that I've been really thinking about. So I got now. It's about applying what I see to the situation.
and make sure you figure out, hey, what's happening with your student loans, because that's going to come up quickly in 60 days, and you definitely don't want to go back to collections or those to be overdue or anything there. So.
Right. So I'm definitely going to stay on top of that.
Awesome, Nigel. Well, really appreciate your time today. Appreciate you being open and transparent, and hope you have a great rest of your Sunday.
Thank you.
What's up, everyone? We just finished recording with Nigel. He's got a great path ahead of him, starting his own business and getting some traction there, being a personal trainer for young athletes. Definitely has some debt to pay off, $35,000 in student loans and some other things, that some credit card balances and the gym membership, he said. But he wants to make a plan, and he is saving money and not spending every single dollar every single month. So he wants to get out of debt, and I cautioned him on taking out a personal loan for his business. Just make sure building that business in a smart, sustainable way. But really appreciate his time today. It was a good conversation and great to hear from him. So if you learned something from this episode, make sure you subscribe. Make sure you comment below. Just really appreciate every single person's time that's watched this. If you made it this far, trying to help the world learn about money. I'm trying to learn about money. You're trying to learn about money and make this world a better place. So thank you for your time, and like and subscribe. See you next time.